Capricorn 7, a veiled prophet of power. Now, a prophet looks into the future and develops an expectation of what will occur. And this expectation is a power. The ability to see the future is questionable. Certain things must happen in the future, and certain things may happen or may not in the future. And really the future is not written definitively. To some extent it is, to some extent it is not. So anyone claiming to be able to see the future or persuading themselves that the future is written and is certain and this will be, they're calling upon a certain facility we have to bring things about the way we choose them to happen. So this is exactly what a magician does, of course. You visualize what you want to happen and you make it happen. And therefore you expect it to happen. That's a part of what making it happen is. That's what it means. You have an expectation that what you have done will work. And to some extent, that's not really a mystery. That there's a very definite process that you have to go through to bring things about. And it has to do with your skills and your resources and your sensitivity to opportunity, your ability to read other people, to see what they might be able to do to fit in with the overall vision that you have of the way things are going. And these are not arbitrary. These are things that we can study and develop a good deal of competency, sort of doing repetitively, repeatedly. You know, we can work out how to make things come to pass. And then we practice that until we know how to do that. It's a very interesting question whether or not the prophet is somebody who actually can make things happen, or somebody who can read what inevitably must happen. So there's this passive and active aspect to prophecy. And for example, in a horse race, if somebody constantly wins when gambling on the horses, it is no longer a question of luck. There's something going on there. Now, whether or not that person has studied all the form and the conditions of the horse race and really done their work and understood that, on average, those conditions will produce a result and those won't, and they've really deeply involved themselves in the matter, there's no sense of magic or mystery going on here. They're just very good at working out what makes a horse win a race. It's not mystical. It's just that most people won't study the complexity of it. And this is the main reason why people don't understand what's going to happen in the world. They just don't have enough will to study the inevitables. In any situation, there are things which are inevitable, and you can gain a lot of insight about the future by studying them. So let's just put aside the fact that not all of us can have intuitive, sudden insights into what's going to happen next. Now, of course, some of us can, and sometimes it comes to pass. But it's so easy to forget the other times when you think something's going to happen and it doesn't. So I think what we're talking about really is not so much the ability to read the future in some spooky, mystical way, but what we're talking about is the ability to trust intuition and then develop upon that. So if, for example, you have a sense of where the world is going politically, economically, socially, and you can see that these are troubled times and there will be trouble ahead, and you take measures to develop the appropriate skills, collect the resources, make the contacts with the people that you need to make contact with, so that you invest yourself in a line, in a path of development. Then if you add to that this quality, this profound mystical quality of expectancy, then you have the formula for being able to read the future, create the future. What's the difference? It's not really a different phenomenon. It's seen from one side or the other, the yang or the yin, but creating the future and reading the future are pretty much the same thing. Now we notice in the title, the word veiled suggests that this prophet of power is hidden. There's some modesty involved, or strategy, whichever it might be. And we contemplate the idea that declaring yourself fully is not always the best strategy to maximize your influence. Sometimes holding back on letting it be known who you are and what you can do is a better strategy. Now that's partly because there's this knee-jerk reaction in some people to bring down the arrogance of another. So if you say, I am a prophet, I am powerful, I can see the future, there's going to be quite a lot of people that won't like that presentation. It might seem arrogant. It might seem too self-organized, self-claiming for the taste of many. Others follow that. A lot of people follow a strong and arrogant statement from a leader. So in this case, we're talking about somebody who's decided to hide their abilities to read situations, to understand people better, to understand the flow of life and its track into the future. So we're talking about somebody who's actually aware of all of these variables and yet not presenting them openly to the world, because that's how they've decided to optimize their influence strategically. The ability to read other people is a part and parcel of all of this. If you can't read the future unless you can read people, because people create the future. And the people that you're with are those who are creating your future. It's not the future over there that we're interested in. It's the future here. This is the only reality that we know, where we are in the here and now. Everything that comes to us eventually here and now. And therefore, the people that are rotating around us, our circle of influence, these are the people that will carry our vision into the future and make it so. Or we could see this the other way around. These are the people whose future we are reading. And to read those people requires a degree more sensitivity and insight and stillness, actually. And I think this gives us a clue as to why the prophet wants to veil their abilities. It's because this turning within, this inner reality, develops a greater awareness of what other people are doing. If you're proclaiming, then you're not noticing the people around you so well. But if you're quiet and you just look at people and you see opportunities and you wait for the right time and then say the right word, you'll notice that a soft word spoken in the right way at the right time creates an avalanche of developing potentials. Whereas you choose the wrong time or the wrong tone or the wrong person to pronounce your ability to see the future or create the future, either it doesn't work or it creates a mountain of obstacles and resistance that you really don't want. So be clear about which way you're going and committed to it, and surround yourself with other people who want to go in that direction. And it becomes inevitable that the future is going to unfold more or less in that way. And if you're the first person to understand that, and spoken quietly and gently in a timely way, you're the first person to be speaking of it. You become a spokesperson of your group. And that usually means the leader. the most influential, the one who calls the shots. Because the first to speak of a reality kind of creates that reality. So this is a very powerful degree. It says power in the title, a prophet of power, and kind of predicting that they will become leaders. And if you have a planet in this particular degree, then that planet will show you how to be that leader. Saturn would be much more responsible and mature about it. The moon would be supportive and helpful. The sun would be visionary, perhaps. Jupiter would be that which makes things happen. Different approaches to it. But it's a degree of power.